So I promised you a race recap in my last video, my 2024 Chicago Marathon, and I'm going to give that to you while I am on my way to the Lakefront Trail. Well, many of you who've been watching know that the question was, could I achieve a sub 4 marathon? The answer is yes, I can. Did I do it in Chicago? I did not. I ran it in 4 hours, 9 minutes, 44 seconds. And I'm happy with that. That is a PR of 3 minutes and 41 seconds over last year. It's getting windy and traffic is, well, I need to focus on this, so I'll give you the rest of the update at the trail. So I made it to my trail. This trail is a reason why it was so difficult for me to leave Chicago so many years ago. It was the thing and is still the thing that grabs my heart. And as you can see, as I was approaching this trail, I'm on North Avenue Beach. Stayed in a hotel downtown. Well, actually, I haven't checked out yet, but I'm going to. This is the morning of October 15th, 2 days after the marathon. Anyway, so I wanted to get up here and do a quick recap. It's really windy, so I'm gonna have to keep this hood on. It's actually kind of insane, insanely windy, and I'm glad it wasn't like this 2 days ago, because I wouldn't have done a 4:09:44 in this for sure. So my race, I set out to run faster than I did last year at Chicago. That was a 4:13:25 that I was ecstatic about. So it was in the, they said it was the, I guess, mid to high 50s. The race last year started out about 10 degrees cooler. I believe that I could have run quite a bit faster than 4:09:44. One of the things is, if you watched a previous video of mine, I said, run the blue line, because the blue line is going to be the fastest route, or the shortest route to the finish line. It may not be exactly 26.2, but it's going to come a lot closer than if you're all over the running path. I ran the blue line to an extent. Here's what I think the issue is in part. Last year when I ran that blue line, it was a consistent run on the blue line. I just stayed on it all the way. It was a smooth run. This year, there was so much congestion on that blue line. I was constantly weaving in and out of people who were going at slower paces. And there was also almost a near collision. Well, actually, I did collide with someone. It wasn't major. We both kind of held on to each other for a second. We didn't fall. But there was nothing like that last year. As I was constantly looking behind my shoulder, trying to make sure that there was enough space so that I wasn't hindering someone else. And the energy that took from me finally at some point, I think it's not just the energy, but it's the fact that all of that weaving in and out, looking behind my shoulder, in and of itself was adding time, and it was probably significant. So this marathon is bigger. It's bigger than last year's by, I don't know, several thousand people. I really felt it out there. So why 409:44? Some of the things I did differently for a faster time than last year. I took salt tablets. I took 2 salt tablets every 30 minutes, or I took goo. I took goo about 15 minutes before we started, just a regular goo, no caffeine. And then I took a goo about every 2.5 miles from that point, all the way up until the end of the race. The other thing I did is I went on a caffeine fast. I took in no caffeine from any sources for an entire week before the race, hoping that when I got to mile 12.5, when I was scheduled to take my first goo with caffeine, that would give me a boost and keep my pace up. I feel like that did help. I'm not looking at my paces right now, but I was pretty consistent, I believe, more or less, for a good at least half of that race. When I came in at the half marathon mark, I was running a sub 2. I did run a sub 2 half marathon, but so I was on pace for potentially a sub 4-hour marathon. But I have to tell you, I felt in my gut, it was like, well, I think this is maybe 50-50 chance this is going to happen, because I was starting to feel the I wouldn't say tired, but I was feeling that with all the energy that I was expending and continuing to expend on the weaving, I was starting to feel that catch up with me at that point. I knew quite a few miles out that I was not looking at sub 4. I started playing, some, I wouldn't say tricks, but bargaining with myself. Well, you want this to be faster than 4:13. If it's 4:11, that'll be good. And then I realized, I think I'm on target to do a lot better than that. And I was, until I got to mile 25, and a little bit into it, the very last mile, I'm looking at my watch. My pace was 9 minutes 45 seconds. I thought that's great for mile 25. And then out of the blue, my right leg, which has never happened to me, right under, well, I would say my thigh, cramped up. It spasmed. It was like it just happened out of the blue, and I saw my time tank from 9:45 to 10:15, just like that. I started slapping my thigh, trying to, keep it going, keep it moving. I continued to run, and I'm like, no, this can't happen now, because I thought I'm looking at maybe 4:07, 4:08, maybe 4:08, and it was not to be. So at some point, that spasm disappeared. I guess I just kept knocking at my leg, and I kept moving. I was like, I'm not going to stop. And then, before I know it, we were going up Mount Roosevelt, and I am so happy to say that the extreme pain that I felt going up that little hill right before the turn to the finish line was not there. I mean, yeah, it was painful, but it was not like last year, which says to me that there have been a lot of training, the training that I did, the tweaks that I made for the race really helped me improve in a lot of ways, and not just my time, because I felt good. I did not have the extreme cramping and muscle soreness. It's like I was almost speed walking, and I walked 3 miles from the race site to my hotel, ultimately, when I was ready to go back after everything else that I did following the marathon. So if you watched any of the training videos, you may have seen the videos where I talked about, hey, I'm carrying 5 pounds of stuff, and this is going to affect my attempt at a sub 4. Well, I knew that I couldn't do it. I had to find some other way to deal with the weight issue. So I decided that I was not going to carry a phone. too distracting. That's all I'm gonna say for this video, I think, because it is really cold out here, and I could probably say more, but you don't want to hear anything else. And I'll probably go into details in future videos.